the thought of me becoming a lawyer was sort of out of this world. I was interested because it was important. I wanted to do something that I felt was important. And by important, I didn't mean necessarily made money. I meant something that impacted other people's lives. I was in a sales job where the biggest item that got you the biggest commission, I was able to sell. And I remember after I sold it, feeling this emptiness and thinking, this is gonna be my life? Like, just, I'm gonna make money and nothing, this person will leave with this item and nothing will be different from what I did. This cannot be it for me. And at the same time, I had the opportunity to start working at an elementary school. And that, I felt, was very impactful. I was working with children, and I was in a high-needs school where my interactions with these kids potentially could be the best thing that happened in their whole day. And that, to me, was important. That was fulfilling. But I also, after a couple of years of working at the school, as I started to do my undergraduate studies, I also learned to do math. And as my daughter says, the math was not mathing. I was like, wait, how much is this degree in education going to cost? And what was the salary again? And essentially, I'm gonna have to have like another job on the side to be able to even pay for my, it just was not working. And also as a woman, the reality was that a lot of the teachers I saw, and I'm just being real with you, a lot of the teachers who were able to have a good standard of living, it's because they were second income to somebody else, right? And I thought, well, that can't be my plan. Well, when I get married and somebody else can support me, then I can be a teacher. That could not work for me. I'm not saying it's a bad plan. If it works for you, I applaud, but that would not work for me. And at the same time, as I'm thinking of all these things, what am I going to do? I had a major car accident. With that car accident came, one, the thought that my life was going to be over in that moment, like bracing yourself. It was my car against a tractor, and it opened my car like a can of tuna. And I, passed out and the whole thing, and when I came to, and I thought, I'm still here. I came back with a renewed sense of the fragility of life. Like, this can be over any minute. And I'm done being limited by other people's ideas of what I can or should or shouldn't do, including myself. What I may have thought was impossible, forget it. And I asked myself, if I could do anything, and anything in the world, what would I do? So one came that face-to-face, life or death. And the other thing that came, what comes with an accident? A lawyer. Accident, and now we have a lawyer. And we're talking about my case, and I remember he's talking about, well, they can offer this, we can do that, I'm talking about the case. And I remember thinking, because at the same time I'm thinking about my career, right? Like, this is where I was in my life, and I'm working at the school. And I remember thinking, when he said that his piece was a third of this settlement, I remember thinking, that is a lot of money for somebody who's just shuffling paper behind a desk, right? A third of my check. But I also thought, here's a person who's not only going to make a living, is going to collect a check that allows him to make a living, but here's a person who's having an impact in other people's lives. When something happens, when something bad happens, people can feel bad for you. Your family, your friends, your neighbors, oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. But a lawyer can do more than feel bad for you. A lawyer is the person who steps in the scene and helps vindicate your rights, right? The lawyer is the one who can confidently tell someone, you will have a $30,000 check for me tomorrow by close of business, or there will be consequences. And that happens. And then you turn that money over to the rightful owner, the victim of a fraud case. That's what a lawyer can do, more than, oh, that's, no. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And so that's what I saw in him. I said, here's someone who's having an impact in people's lives. I want to do that. And that day I decided I was going to go into the law. The law is not just about statutes and cases in a vacuum. It's about people. Every case, every client, every decision, behind all of it, there are lives and communities that are affected by the law. For Latinos in this country, community has always been our shelter. We built our own networks of support, sometimes churches, sometimes civic groups. When other doors seemed shut, we opened new ones together. The same spirit has to guide us in the legal profession. Representation matters deeply. I look in this room and I don't know if you notice, I'm shaking, and it's not from fear. I speak in public all the time. I was a Superior Court judge in my community. Well, before that, I was a prosecutor. So I am commanding the room. I'm trying to get a conviction. I'm trying to put somebody behind bars, sometimes for the rest of their lives. Then I was a defense attorney. I'm trying to defend someone. I'm trying to protect their rights. Then I became a judge. I've sentenced someone to death. I've been in front of crowds. That doesn't bother me. But I'm excited because when I went through my process, I was one of just a handful of people who looked like me in those spaces. I was in spaces where people looked at me kind of like, can I help you? When I went as a law student, there's a program where if you're taking certain classes under the supervision of a law professor, you can practice, right? You can prosecute misdemeanor cases or defend people in misdemeanor cases. And in immigration, I also did the immigration clinic. It's, old story. You show up in your suit with your briefcase, put your bag at counsel table, and people still try to correct you. No, are you the interpreter? You go over here. I'm not here to interpret anything. I'm here to try this case, right? The thought of being in a room packed of the future that looks like this is exhilarating for me. And also, I've been a judge on the trial court, on the Court of Appeals, and now on the Supreme Court. I've been a judge for a long time, and truthfully, I hesitated when the vacancy opened on the Supreme Court. I thought, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to? I don't have to. I could retire in a couple of years and go do other fun things. I found out that I'm very well suited to vacationing. It just kind of goes with my personality, right? But I also realized I had a number of people talk to me and say, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I thought, I don't have to do anything. One friend said to me, because I said, it weighs heavy on my mind. Do I take this opportunity or not? I personally don't need it to feel fulfilled. I said, what about those who came before me, who worked so hard? And I'm talking way before me, who marched, who advocated, who tried to open doors so people like me could be in law school and be in these spaces. I said, what about them? Am I not doing my part? And she said, don't feel bad. They worked hard so we could have the choice to be in those spaces or not, so we could live the lives we want to live. And I said, that's right, and I choose not to. The more I thought about it, I asked myself, when this is all over, and this, I don't mean like when I'm dead, I mean before that, a little bit before that, when I'm retired, and I'm just sitting on my front porch, am I going to look back and be satisfied with the choice that I made to not apply? We have not had Latina. But I looked around, and I saw that as far as the judiciary, even though I didn't plan it this way, I ended up being the person for this party, because there's a political component. For my party, I was the highest ranking woman Latina. So I feel like it's something, I'm not a huge football fan, so hopefully I won't screw the analogy up, but it's kind of like when the person who is not the one who's supposed to catch the football is suddenly like out there by themselves and the ball's coming and you're like, what are you gonna do? Go, oh, that's that. Over there, that guy is the one who's supposed to catch the ball. But it's like, no, it's you. Catch it and run, right? So I said, okay, I know what the answer is. I will not be satisfied if I don't take this opportunity for those who are coming. As a show of appreciation for what's been done for me and for those who are coming behind me, which is you. You are the reason why I am doing this work right now. And you are the ones that I hope will understand the importance of your place in our country, of your place in our educational institutions, of your place in the law. I was invited very recently by the chief judge of the Ninth Circuit, and the chief of that circuit, for the first time also, is a woman, Mary Murguia, and a phenomenal woman at that. Hopefully you'll have the opportunity to meet her. And so she called me and said, I'm taking a small group of lawyers and judges to Washington, D.C. in June this year to get sworn in, to become members of the D.C. bar. And it's more ceremonial. I'm not trying to practice in DC, at least not right now. But she said, would you like to? And I said, sure, let's go. And so she put together this group of people, and we went there, and it was fantastic. But one thing happened that was very special, and I want to share with you. If you've been to the U.S. Supreme Court, there's the bench, and then there's the area where the lawyers sit, and there's a bar, and then there's the audience. So to get admitted to the DC bar, all of the prospects are seated in that area past the bar, and one by one, their sponsors go to the podium and say, you know, may it please the court, I am so-and-so, and I am moving these people to be admitted to the bar. And so we waited our turn. Other people got called, rows at a time. They came in groups just like we did. The group right in front of my group, who do you think it was? The following attorneys of the Department of Homeland Security be admitted to the DC bar. And how proud I felt when Chief Judge Borgia stood up and said, may it please the court, I move to admit the following all abogados, Latino lawyers, to the DC bar. And I just thought, it's interesting how things happen, right? That we came right after them. It's like, okay, you're here, and we're here too, right? It matters. Imagine a courtroom where no one understands your language, your culture, your struggles, the struggles of a Latino family facing eviction. Imagine a young immigrant who doesn't see anyone who looks like them advocating in front of a judge. At the very least, even if the players are doing their best to dispense justice, do you think that person who's at the center of the dispute feels like they're receiving justice? When I was running for judge in my county, where actually no woman had been elected, in Yuma County, as in 11 counties in our state, Superior Court judges are elected by popular vote, not like in Phoenix or Tucson. And when I ran, no woman had ever been elected and no Latino had been elected. And there's kind of an order to these things. Let me just be frank with you. When I say no woman, I mean not just no Latina, no woman of any race. And when I say no Latino, I mean not even a man, because normally the men and then the women, right? It's just how it kind of happens. Don't be shy. That's just how it happens. But again, I was in a position where I thought, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about the fact that I'm a woman or that I'm Latina, nor do I want to. But one thing I can do is work very hard to let people know my track record, what is the work that I've done, and why should they trust me to have this position. That I can do. I can work hard. That's within my control. And I worked very hard. And I remember when I was on the campaign trail, a person asked me, he said, and if we vote for you, if we elect you, what are you going to do for us? ¿Qué va a hacer por nosotros? I can't treat people better because they're of a certain race, right? That's not how the law works. But I said, what I can give you is that when you go in that courtroom, number one, when you see the photos of all those judges, you're going to see someone that looks more like you, whose life experience is more like yours, who can identify and who can understand. And you know that you will not be treated differently on account of the way you look or on account of the way your name sounds. That representation is important. People need to feel like they're not outcasts in their own communities. So I want you to remember that your cultural diversity, your bilingualism, your values of familia and comunidad, they're not obstacles. They are your greatest assets as a future lawyer. They make you better at connecting with people, at advocating for justice, and at building bridges where others see dead ends. I can't tell you the number of times that a person in a position of legal need has ended up with me championing their rights, and when they heard me open my mouth and speak Spanish, they felt like somebody who's going to understand me. It's not the same to say, let me get my secretary to come in here and kind of sort of tell me more or less what's happening in your case. No, someone who can tell me directly what is the problem, and someone who I can speak to directly. Now, let's talk about what this looks like in practice. Law school can be tough. It's competitive, it's rigorous, and sometimes it can feel isolating. And some, as I said before, may question whether you even belong there. But here's the truth. You will not succeed in law school alone. First, find mentors, seek out professors, practicing attorneys, and alumni who can guide you. I remember sitting in your shoes and thinking, man, if this actually works out and I get out of here with a law degree and I become a lawyer, I knew it would work out one way or another. I'm gonna be that person who helps somebody else, who helps smooth the path a little bit. They're still gonna have to do the work for themselves, but they're not gonna have to waste time figuring out the little things. My God, there's a lot of time wasted when you don't have parents or grandparents who were lawyers, right? I mean, imagine for example, not that my children are interested, but if my kids wanted to go to law school, it'd be a lot easier for them than it was for me. And so I went to law school with a lot of people who were like, oh, my daddy was a lawyer, my granddaddy was a lawyer, I'm going, we didn't even know a lawyer. Find those people because we went through it and now we want to help you. We truly do. Second, lean on your peers. Lean on each other. Join organizations. I was a member of La Raza Law Students Association, Arizona Women Law Students Association, HNBA, Hispanic National Bar Association. Now I'm still a member of, I was a member of the Black Law Students Association, and I'm hesitating because now I'm a member of the sort of grown-ups organization, so I'm trying to get my letters straight. So now I'm a member of the Arizona Women Lawyers Association, the Los Abogados, Hispanic National Bar Association, Arizona Black Bar, and Latina Mentoring Project, which for you sisters, see me. You need to be part of LMP. And third, take care of your own selves. Law school is stressful and mental health is real. Community gives you that safety net. A reminder that you're not alone when challenges come, and you will make friendships that will last your whole life. I have a friend who I met in law school, moved to Chicago, we always stayed in touch, and my God, she just started working at a major law firm here in Phoenix like last week, and I cannot wait to hang out with her after work and unload and lean on her and have her lean on me. Now let's look ahead. Once you graduate, and I've taken you really far now, right? But you're gonna get there if you decide that this is what you want to do, and I hope you do. When you graduate and become attorneys, the responsibility to your community grows even greater. As a lawyer, you'll have power. Power to interpret the law, to influence decisions, to advocate for change. And with that power comes responsibility, not to quote Spider-Man. But one of the most meaningful things you can do is give back. Work pro bono. Pro bono cases for families who cannot afford a lawyer. You can find the time. Volunteer at community legal clinics. What for you may be 20 minutes of speaking with someone may be the thing they needed to get their life on course, to make the right decision, to know at least where to go. Support grassroots organizations fighting for justice. But uplifting community isn't just about legal services, it's about creating pathways. Remember, every time you walk into a courtroom, a law firm, or a classroom, you're opening the door a little wider for the person who comes after you. And that's what I'm hoping that I will do for you. Whether that's a younger sibling, a student you mentor, or someone in your neighborhood who sees you and thinks, if they did it, maybe I can too. When I started, so after being a prosecutor and a defense attorney, I decided to open my own practice in my town. And I was fortunate enough, somebody was on my side. I don't know if you remember or if anybody has ever told you, but there used to be a phone book. When you wanted to see someone's number, you'd go in this big book, and there were the white pages and there were the yellow pages. If you were an attorney and you didn't have your number in the book, in the attorney section, that was like the equivalent of being online, right? Nobody's gonna find you if you're not in the book. So I go out into practice and I advertise and I luck out and I land the spot in the middle of the white and yellow pages, and it's this cardboard thing, right, that stands up when you open the book. How? Like, that is an expensive ad, but the poor lady who sold ads, and she had a prominent attorney who I will not mention, is still very prominent, and he's on billboards and everything, and it's not Suzuki. Suzuki and I went to school together, by the way. It's not him. But this prominent attorney always bought that and like all the big ads. And for some reason, he decided at the last minute, I'm not taking the divider. And she is just up and down the lawyer areas, all the suites in front of the courthouse. And I happen to be in my little office that I was renting from someone else, like just a little office, just getting started. And she comes in and she says, well, you know, I can get you a good deal. And I was like, look, this is what I can pay. And it was very little money. And she said, well, I mean, this is worth like, and it'll be in color. It'll be like the whole thing in color. When they open up the book, your page will pop up. I said, I understand the value of it. I'm just telling you, you see me, there's boxes here. I'm just starting, I have no money. So if you want, you can sell it to me for this rock bottom price, or you can just not sell it. You're ready to go to print, like she was on a deadline, and you can just put your little, you know, icon. They used to have 2 fingers like this. Let your fingers do the walking, right? Because, you know, it's for thumbing through the pages. So I said, you can do your little finger icon and have nothing. She said, fine. So she sold it to me. So I sprung out with my picture in my nice suit with all the legal books in the back, leaning over a desk with the I will fight for you stamp. My hair long, just looking sharp. But more than anything, looking like someone that others had never seen before. And I didn't know this, but many years later, after I was a judge in my community, I was in a public event, and another attorney was talking about her journey and how she decided to become an attorney. And she's Latina, and she said, you know, she was a young mom. She got pregnant in high school and went through all these difficulties, but she was going to go to college, but she didn't know what she wanted to do. And one day she goes back home to visit her grandma, and she opens up the phone book and sees this woman. And she said, I had never seen a Latina lawyer before. And when I saw that, I said, if she can do it, I can do it too. And I said, I couldn't, I'm in the audience. Like, she didn't even tell me this before. Like, she just says, when she saw that, she's like, I can do that too. And now, she is a prominent attorney, but does a lot of good. More importantly, she does a lot of good for a lot of people in the community. So remember that. The things that you are doing are going to inspire other people, are going to open paths to other people, even people who you're not directly representing. So this is a collective process. When you rise, bring others with you. That's how we transform not just individual lives, but entire communities. That's how you got here. That's how you are in an institution of higher learning, because other people came before you. It's not just because you decided one day to go to college. It's because years ago, other students in your place had to take on the mantle of advocacy so that you could just one day decide, I want to go, and then you could just come. So what I want to leave you with is this. The law is not just a career. It's a calling. It's a chance to fight for justice, to serve, and to uplift. As Latino students, you carry with you generations of resilience, creativity, and strength. You also carry the dreams of our families, of your neighborhoods, and your communities. Don't forget that. And don't let that feel like a burden. It's a privilege. Your journey to law school will have challenges, yes, but you are not alone. You're part of a larger community that believes in you, that supports you, and that needs you. Your success is not just your own. It belongs to everyone who helped you get here and to everyone who will come after you. So build community, uplift others. I cannot wait to see the impact you will make in the world of law. And remember, the measure of your success will not be how far you go, but how many people you bring with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Maria Elena Cruz, for those inspiring remarks. This is what Aspiring Latino Lawyers is about. It's about mentorship, building community. It's about you not being the only one at the table representing your community. So we are thankful to have you here, and we hope that you stick around to hear more about amazing speakers and just build community in general. So thank you very much. And finally, I want to thank our amazing executive board right here. They worked overtime to make this possible. So if we can get an applause from them.